Hello. Hi. So I definitely planned on having this recorded before I left, and that was nearly 2 months ago, but I wanted to share with you guys my experience of living in Hawaii. So, sitting in my room, 4,000 miles away from the islands, let's get started. First of all, hi, if you don't know me, my name is Katie, that's me, hi. I wanted to make this video for a lot of reasons. First, I would like to say yes, admittedly I am just another white girl making a video about her time spent in the islands, but I think I have a little bit of a unique perspective when it comes to this subject, so I think we should just start at the beginning. When I came here, it was really for no real reason except to have a really big change.
Don't you know I'm loco?
I had no idea what I was doing. I got here, I was 4,000 miles away from where I originally started and where I was from, and I was super excited. And after messing around for a couple of months, working and going to the beach, I decided that I should go back to college. And I actually ended up getting a scholarship working in the athletic department of my school. And this is how I stayed in this place for a grand total of 4 years. It wasn't because I was working super hard to make a living. I had student loans, and that is how I stayed. And I had an obligation for school, and that is what I was doing. I of course went home for the summer twice and for the winter holidays every year, but the majority of my time between 2012 and 2016 was spent in this really cool place that a lot of people only dream of visiting, and at some point in my life I only dreamed of visiting. I get asked so often, what is it like to live in Hawaii? And I usually try to downplay it, but also realistically tell them. I'll say something like, oh, it's weird, but it's cool. Because it is weird. It's a completely unique place, unlike anywhere else in the entire world. The thing that I find myself telling people, though, is that my Hawaii experience was mostly a college experience, which makes it pretty different than a lot of people. Not necessarily people that I know, because all of my friends were from school, so we all had that in common, but a lot of people come to Hawaii for a ton of other reasons, but none of those reasons were really mine. Maybe that's why I came there, but it's not exactly why I stayed. I couldn't go to the beach every day because I had class, and a lot of times I didn't even have a tan because I was so busy, but when I didn't have school stuff going on, it was really fun. I am a longtime fan of the beach, like a lot of people, and at this point in time, I have not been to the beach in about 2 months, and it is the weirdest thing in the world to me. Another thing that a lot of people really are jealous of when it comes to people who live out there is the weather. And it's not always perfect weather. I like the weather there. It's very tropical, obviously, but it is not sunny and 75 degrees every day of the year. Sometimes it is, but not usually. In the summers, it's really hot, and in the winter, it's really rainy and about 75 degrees. Something that I learned pretty quickly is that Hawaii is far from a paradise. It's just a place, just like anywhere else. It's just a place. It's a very pretty place, but it's a place. Something I find myself telling others is that it is a lot like a small town. A lot of people joke around and say that Hawaii is the biggest small town in the world. There are kids there who can't wait to leave, and there are people who've never left the island that they were born on. Everybody knows everybody, and it is really not an exaggeration. There is a homeless problem. There's a drug problem. There are crime problems, there are traffic problems and government problems and injustices toward the Hawaii people and local people and the environment, and the list of problems really could just fill a few pages. However, even though it is not perfect, it doesn't mean that it's not my favorite place in the world. I really tried to never take for granted that every time I would have to go from one school campus to the other, I would see a view like this, and that whenever I was bored, I could hike some of the most beautiful mountains in the world, or hang out at an actual perfect beach next to perfect pristine blue water. I'm probably never going to get over how lucky I was to be able to just casually do all of these things. I obviously had my own share of frustrations. I can talk about how pretty it was and how wonderful and how much I love everybody, but it would be completely dishonest to say that I didn't have my own share of frustrations. There was a 4 to 5 hour time difference between myself and my family and a lot of my friends. I missed 2 of my grandparents' funerals and would have missed a third if my dad hadn't been able to get me a red-eye flight out of Honolulu in October of 2014. Sometimes I would just feel so claustrophobic because I would remember that there were 1 million people on an island the size of 2 counties back home, and I spent a lot of time crying because I missed my family. And every time I came home it was nice, but a little bit stressful because I knew that I was going to be leaving in just a few weeks and I wouldn't be coming back for a pretty long time. And when I was still in school, the stress of school seemed to be magnified by the general disorganization of my particular university, which has nothing to do with it being in Hawaii, but everything to do with the messy stuff that I'm not even going to get into. And also the fact that I knew that while I was sitting in class or I was sitting at work, if I really wanted to, I could just get up, get on a bus, and be at the beach in half an hour, which I'm not going to lie, definitely did that a couple of times. Not so much with work, definitely with class. I think I need to get away from the negativity though, because the pros far outweigh the cons. This place is, just to, jump into a pool of cliches, it's pretty magical. There's an energy here that I've never seen anywhere else. People are incredibly kind. People really care about stuff that matters here, and I don't think I ever met a single person who took being in this place for granted. The people that I met were my favorite part. Sometimes we would have adventures that seemed like they were something out of a movie, and other times we had incredibly ordinary times that felt like we were just back home on the mainland. Everyone I met, obviously, was either from Hawaii or from somewhere else, and the people from other places seemed to share this really weirdly specific streak of independence and something that I can't quite put my finger on, but basically 98% of the people that I knew were really cool and I missed them a lot. Also, because I get asked a lot, no, I never learned to surf, but I did learn a little bit of hula thanks to taking it as an elective in college 3 times. It's probably impossible to summarize what it's like to live here. I think you kind of just have to live it to understand. But I think the best job I can do is just to say that it's a really special place. And if I could be there easily forever, I would probably do it. And if you ever get the chance to go at all, but definitely for longer than a couple of weeks, you should definitely take that opportunity in like 2 seconds. I feel like this is probably just really wordy, and the best thing I can do now, I think, is just to let all the footage I took over the years speak for itself. that's what it was like for me to live in Hawaii, specifically on Oahu and mostly in Honolulu. This was so far probably my favorite part of my life. And I know that eventually it'll get beaten out by something someday. I miss it a lot, and it's forever kind of my second home, I think. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope it gave you a little bit more of a realistic insight as to what it's like to live in Hawaii. How many times can I say Hawaii in one video? But anyway, I will see you guys soon in another video, and I will talk to you later. Goodbye.